Hey everyone, it's Danielle Emerson with the Great Lakes Beacon. I'm here with Ady Barkan, an activist who very famously confronted Jeff Flake about the Senate the GOP's tax bill in Congress, and is out on a summer tour talking about that tax bill and the importance of health care. So thank you, Ady, for being with us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So you're in Michigan as part of this tour, Summer of Heroes tour. Can you tell us a little bit about the tour and what it is, how you decided on doing it?
Yeah. So we are traveling from California to Maine through 21 states, 32 congressional districts, talking to voters all along the way about the importance of this midterm election and why we need people not merely to come out and vote, but to really be heroes for their neighborhoods and families and communities by getting other people out to the polls. I'm trying to encourage people to become organizers, to organize their neighborhoods, their classmates, their coworkers and family members, and really help mobilize a popular resistance to the Trump administration. Our democracy is under severe threat right now, like it hasn't been in my lifetime. And the question is, are we going to rise to the moment and treat this election with the seriousness that it deserves? Our country can go right now in two very different directions. We can descend further down the road towards fascism by electing and supporting the agenda of a racist kleptocrat, or we can, over the next 28 months, with two big elections, we could elect a government that believes in Medicare for all and guaranteed good jobs and a climate revolution and clean water and good public schools. We really have an amazing opportunity. So I'm touring around with my friends and comrades, talking to people on campuses, senior citizen homes, town halls, and we're here in Lansing because you have an incumbent here and Congressman Bishop, who has consistently voted against the interests of his constituents, who's repeatedly supported the repeal of the ACA, which puts people like me at risk and raises insurance premiums for everyone. And he supported the tax scam, which raises taxes on working families in order to further enrich the 1%. So I'm here to hear from voters and try to go find Congressman Bishop and confront him and prepare to replace him in November.
Why you touched on this a little bit, but why Michigan? You were in Kalamazoo yesterday, I understand. You're coming across to the east side of the state later on today. Why Michigan? Why was it important to stop in this state?
Well, Michigan has such a proud and incredible history. In many ways, you here were the birthplace of the American middle class in the middle of the 20th century. It was a place where workers came together on the floor of the auto factories to demand a fair share of the economic growth that the American automobile industry was producing. And some of the great moments in American labor history happened right here with workers and students and community organizers coming together to build power, not just economic power on their shop floor, but political power through independent politics and organizing. So I'm really honored to be here. It's my first trip ever to Michigan. I've been to every other state on our tour except Michigan and Wisconsin. So I'm very excited to finally make it here.
People often look at folks with disabilities and diseases as rare cases. The tax bill that is kind of at the core of what you're fighting against obviously affects a lot more people than that. Can you talk about who should care about this issue? Why does it matter so much?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would note that there are tens and tens of millions of Americans with disabilities. Mine, I should learn the number. I think it's upwards of 50 million. Mine is particularly visible and severe and declining, but many people struggle often quietly or privately with their disability, and it's so important to recognize that and figure out ways to accommodate that and to make sure that people with disabilities have the opportunity not only to survive but really to thrive as members of our economy and society and community. I'm certainly very grateful, for example, to the ADA and all the activists who over many years fought so hard to pass that law at every gas station and restaurant and hotel or RV park that we stop at. I benefit from having accessible accommodations. The tax bill not only threatens the healthcare people on Medicare and Medicaid, like I soon will be, but it further undermines our social contract by saying we're going to redistribute income upwards, give it to people who already have enough of it. We're going to pay for that by kicking people off health insurance, raising everyone's premiums, destabilizing the entire American health insurance system. It's really hard to imagine crafting a more evil or destructive bill, but that's what we get from our current leadership in Congress and the White House.
Aside from just not implementing the tax plan, are you telling folks any thoughts on better alternatives than what the Republicans and Trump have put forward?
Of course. I think we have the opportunity to build an entirely new approach to governance. Instead of embracing the politics of fear and austerity, I'm encouraging people to celebrate the best in America and dream big about what kind of a country we can build. For example, and this is particularly pertinent in Michigan, where there's such high unemployment and the middle class has been shrinking for 40 or 50 years, we should guarantee everyone who wants one a good paying job. There's so much crucial work to be done in America, from caring for young kids to people with disabilities to installing solar panels and wind turbines, building schools, replacing lead pipes and broken water systems, rebuilding mass transit. And not to mention, public murals and art classes. We have an unlimited amount of good work that can be done in America, and we have millions of people who are sitting at home wanting to contribute, needing more income, ready to work. So I believe that instead of cutting taxes for America's billionaires and pretending like that will help the economy or working families, we should have Congress pass a law guaranteeing everyone who wants one a job at $20 an hour with health benefits and put America back to work doing all the crucial things we need. So that's the kind of bold vision that I'm hoping to see from our elected officials and candidates, and that's the kind of message that I'm trying to spread around the country on my way to Washington, D.C. this August 1st.
Well, you're hitting right on my next question. Obviously, what you're doing is incredible, and the time span in which you're doing it is incredible. It's a huge task to take on. If you were to look into the future, see a vision of something that your advocacy helped to create, what would it look like?
One of them is certainly what I just said, the guaranteed good job. Another is a healthcare system that prioritizes care rather than profit. It's amazing how much time the people I interact with spend trying to get access to care, and how much time employees of our health insurance and healthcare system spend passing paper back and forth trying to figure out who's paying for something. We waste so much money, so much human time, instead of implementing a simple system where everyone gets Medicare. You don't have to worry about losing it if you lose your job or move or get divorced. Where we all have Medicare, it pays for what we need. It's efficient, much more affordable, and we can spend our time doing things we love instead of fighting to get health care covered. So that's another legacy that I would love to contribute to. And I'd say the final thing is I hope to inspire people to be active in our democracy and to see democracy as an ongoing project that requires our commitment and our personal sacrifices, not as something that's just out there waiting for us, that will be there for our children, but instead a project that has to be rebuilt and rejuvenated every generation, and recognize that we have the power to build the better society that we want.
So just wrapping up a little bit, what's next? How much longer are you touring, and what are you urging people to do between now and the election, and maybe even after the election?
Yeah. So we have 23 or 4 days left on this tour. We're heading from here into the eastern part of the Midwest, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and then out through upstate New York, then to Washington, D.C., where we're going to go fight this terrible Supreme Court pick of Brett Kavanaugh, and then up to New York, where we'll be talking about the school to prison pipeline and the possibility of revolutionizing our criminal justice system so that it actually delivers real justice, especially for communities of color. And then we're going to end in Maine, where Susan Collins is one of the key swing votes on the SCOTUS nomination. So all along the way, I'll be urging people to be heroes, to become organizers, and help drive enormous turnout in November, and to become active members of local organizations, as you say, not just in the run-up to the election, but afterwards, so we can hold our elected officials accountable and build for the long term a society in which people are the ones with power, not just money is the thing with power. So I'm looking forward this afternoon to meeting some activists and organizers who are ready to replace Tim Bishop, Mike Bishop, and who are highlighting the way in which he's selling out his constituents, and I'm looking forward to meeting more folks all along the tour. So if people want to follow me, they can on Twitter. My handle is Ady Barkan. Our website is beaherofund.com. You can look at our tour schedule, buy a t-shirt, and get involved.
Well, thank you so much. I think that's all my questions, unless there's anything else that you want to add.
No, thank you for your time and your interest. Great to meet you.
It's great to meet you too.
All right.